So why does kindness in the workplace matter, right? We've talked a little bit about places you love shopping at, places you love going to frequent for businesses, but really, why does kindness in the workplace matter? And I came up with the 3 R's that I believe are the most important reasons why kindness in the workplace matters. The first is your company reputation. And those of you who are business owners in this audience, you know that your reputation is on the line with your company and your culture. The second is your recruitment potential. Are you going to be able to recruit great talent to your company? If there's an amazing culture, that'll be a lot easier. And finally, the retention possibilities. You're going to be able to keep this great talent when they come to your company and love working for you. So let's talk a little bit about reputation for your company. Gone are the days when you can have an experience with a company, maybe you work for a company or you have an experience interacting with them, and you may go home and tell that experience that you've had with your partner, your spouse, your significant other, right? Those days are gone because now you have the opportunity to use social media. And you can share that story with potentially thousands of people in the world. Do I have any Uber users in this audience? Okay, a few of you, great. So back in the summer of 2017, some of you may have heard this story. The Uber CEO, who had built the company to exponential growth, it was in dozens of countries at the time, he started getting some sexual harassment charges that summer, and he was also caught on video by a Uber user screaming at a fellow Uber driver. And that video went viral. When that video went viral, the board of directors of Uber knew that they had a problem on their hands. While the CEO had taken their company to great heights, they did not believe he was the correct leadership to move the company forward, and they asked him to resign. And they hired another CEO that came in and immediately began to look at the culture of the company, that had this sort of macho culture, and that's how it had grown up, but that was not what they wanted moving forward. And this new CEO came in and immediately began implementing cultural norms, one of which is, we do the right thing, period. So now, a couple years later, Uber is looking at how they are slowly turning that ship, and I don't know how many of you maybe switched where you were using at the time. I heard about this story from my daughter, who was a 20-year-old at the time, living in Seattle, attending Seattle University, who was using Uber quite regularly, and she said, "Mom, my friends and I, we don't use Uber anymore. We've switched to another ride-sharing company," because she didn't want to support that kind of a company. So a company's reputation can absolutely be affected by what they are creating in their culture. I want to share a second story about reputation. Similar time frame, July of 2017, this story came out. The company is called Olark. It is a technology company based in Michigan, and they had an employee, Madeline Parker, and she was struggling with some mental health issues. And she wrote an email to her CEO, and she said, "Would it be okay if I take a couple of sick days to use for my mental health? I hope by Monday I'll be feeling great." Now, I don't know if you've ever worked for a company, perhaps where you might have asked that same question, what the response might have been. I've heard in my audiences everything from pack your bags and leave to take as much time as you need. Ben Conglington, the CEO of Olark, wrote back to Madeline Parker, and he said, "Thank you for sending that email. Every time I get an email like this, it's a reminder of how important taking sick time is for mental health. Thank you for not feeling sad about doing that, and thank you for cutting through the stigma so you can bring your whole self to work." Madeline Parker was so touched by that reply, she said, "Can I tweet this?" She took a picture of the comment that Ben Conglington had sent to her, the CEO, and she put it on Twitter. It garnered 500 individual comments, 16,000 retweets, and 44,000 favorites. And Ben Conglington began to get asked to do media and television to talk about why he had made this decision. And when he got on those interviews, he said, 1 in 6 Americans is struggling with a mental health issue. This cannot be a stigma. This has to be something we look at as companies in our culture. Does your reputation of your company make a difference in how you treat those whole people, the kindness that you exude, the culture that you're creating? Absolutely, it does.